No matter what your feelings are about the current president of the United States, when he speaks or tweets or posts, people pay attention. And what he just posted was an attention grabber like none other. Let's talk about Donald Trump and the Golden Rule as we explore. In a late Easter series of Truth Social posts, Donald Trump made this statement: the golden rule of negotiating and success. He who has the gold makes the rules. Thank you. That alone makes you think of a lot of different things, but especially understanding the context from which that statement was made, it raises eyebrows everywhere. And right now, there's a lot of controversy and a lot of attention being garnered about this just posted comment. As shared with me by Alan Gold, this is groundbreaking. Now, I'm going to get into that in a moment, but first, I want to thank Summit Metals for sponsoring the channel. Check them out at summitmetals.com. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at their low prices. But let's discuss a little bit about what's going on with this latest post from Donald Trump. Now, it's not the latest post. There's other posts that have been said after that and before that. We're going to look at those because it might provide a little bit of context. But for those of us in precious metals, well, we might be salivating about this because it could be a foretaste of what could be coming down the pike. I'm going to be talking about that later in another video. Before I found out about this situation, which is groundbreaking, the golden rule of negotiating and success. He who has the gold makes the rules. We've all heard that saying before, but in the context of what Donald Trump has been talking about with regards to visiting Fort Knox, as something that he's been has repeated several times before there was really essentially nothing more on the topic for quite a while. Now, we know that the president is busy, and there's a lot going on a numerous different fronts, but he has made the suggestion, the overt statement that he will be visiting Fort Knox. And Elon Musk sort of brought that to most of our attention, including the president, and he suggested maybe live streaming it. In reality, we need to audit Fort Knox, but I've talked about that in a previous video too. I may link to it at the end screen of this video. But this is quite intriguing because essentially this means that this may come sooner rather than later. But who knows? Or it may not be related at all to precious metals. Now, I'm going to give you context here because literally within minutes of this post came a before and after Truth Social post. The one immediately before that was the businessmen who criticize tariffs are bad at business, but really bad at politics. They don't understand or realize that I am the greatest friend that American capitalism has ever had. Now, what is this about? I think it's directly in relation to negotiating tactics. For those of you who aren't aware of Donald Trump's negotiating tactics, the hints and clues are in his book, The Art of the Deal. And it's not just that. You don't even really need to read that book. It's just understand the deals that he's done before. In other words, some people feel he's playing chess when others are playing checkers. And I think that's in relation to what's going on here with the tariffs. And so I think that's kind of what he's trying to portray in that message there. And of course, immediately after his Golden Rule Trump Social or Truth Social post came this. Minutes afterwards, he says, hopefully Russia and Ukraine will make a deal this week. Both will then start to do big business with the United States of America, which is thriving, and make a fortune. In other words, he is putting in the offer on the table to do business with both Russia and Ukraine that will make everybody money. Now think about that. It's a symbiotic relationship where everybody wins. No more death and everybody will win. The United States will work with Russia, maybe on a minerals deal. The United States will work with Ukraine, maybe on a minerals deal. So that gives at least some context with what Donald Trump had posted about the Golden Rule. But let's dig into it a little bit deeper. We know that nations across the world have been accumulating gold at a record pace. Since 2022, we've not seen this level of gold accumulation by central banks since 1967. And of course, all of this started just a couple of years after the Bank of International Settlements, the central bank of central bankers, delegated gold as a Tier 1 asset, upgraded from a Tier 3 asset, putting gold equal to and on par with cash. And this is why many nations have been accumulating gold, and in a sense, this is an act in some way, in a roundabout way, of de-dollarization, wanting to accumulate more gold. Now, obviously, the other thing here is that, Donald Trump said in this statement that I think is a little bit off, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not looking it up right now because, again, this is somewhat breaking news. But I think it's he who has the most gold makes the rules. But, there's a lot of nations around the world that have a lot of gold. China is accumulating at a record pace, and they have a lot. Russia has a fair amount of gold. Other nations, Germany as well. There's a lot of nations that have been accumulating gold. Now, they make the rules over their territories, and maybe they have more to negotiate on because they have the backing of gold. But, of course, it's more than just gold. It's a strong economy and a military to back that up, too. Well, we have it all. Donald Trump knows this. But we also have the most gold. Assuming that this means that Donald Trump knows that we have the gold, literally 8,133 tons of it, or maybe it's just a phrase, it's a figure of speech. My guess is it may be more to it than that. Because remember, Donald Trump, love him or hate him, he is a smart man. And I think he uses words, in many ways, some people feel he's fairly reckless with his language, but I think there's a little bit more to it than that, especially with regards to what he has been posting here on Easter Sunday late. It's pretty wild to see. And of course, just before that, we had an Easter message from Donald Trump. Happy Easter, we will make America great again. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. And, and so it's pretty amazing. And then immediately after the other post about Russia and Ukraine, he's talking about the big Easter egg hunt at the White House. 40,000 people expected. So it provides a little further context around this holiday. Now, could I be reading too deep into this, that the post, especially about the one in the middle of all of that, is about he who has the gold makes the rules? Was that a, quote, Easter egg? And what is an Easter egg? Well, in software development and in movies, there are, quote, Easter eggs and other little nuggets of information that you may find in a video game or in software that if you type in a certain code or go to a certain place, that pops up with a cool little message or what have you. I think in a way that's kind of what Donald Trump very well may be doing here. So I don't know. It's very exciting and interesting, and I'm early enough into this that I'm starting to see at least some post over on X, as Alan Gold has pointed me to make me aware of that as well too. And things are starting to blow up there, trying to decipher exactly what this means. But nonetheless, very well could bring to top of mind, even though it very well as a possibility be a figure of speech. Maybe in reality, it will remind him that, hey, I need to visit Fort Knox, Kentucky, to see the gold. And maybe it should be live streamed, or maybe we should have a media event like what we had in 1974. But it also reminds us that there needs to be an actual audit, not just an inspection of the seals that guard the vaults of all the gold. So it'll be very interesting to see what this turns out to be. In the long run, and in the short run. But we live in exciting times. We live in stressful times. There's a lot of uncertainty in the world today. And honestly, Donald Trump is causing a lot of it with these tariffs and other factors that are coming into play. But it very well could be on purpose. That's right. As part of his negotiating tactic. Keep an open mind about that. That's not a political statement. I think, understanding how this stuff works and how his mind works really kind of helps put things into perspective as to what's going on here. But, one thing we do know about Donald Trump, and is quite apparent when you look inside of the Oval Office and other parts of the White House, he has decorated it with gold leaf and other areas of gold. he's talking about the golden age. And this is part of that, I think, in a sense. And why not be literal as well as figurative in that discussion? And especially when he's talking about the gold card, which Howard Lutnick has done for the Commerce Department. And from what I understand, there's been quite a number, I think up to 1,000 of those sold so far. That surprises me, honestly, in a way. And so who knows? The thing is I think what he's saying here is that America is great, and there's a lot of opportunity here. And if we work with our friends, allies, and enemies, yes, and enemies, then everybody can benefit if we take part and we come to the negotiating table and realize, and this includes Iran, that he who has the gold makes rules, and you can partner with us or you can work against us. And it's much better for everybody if you work with us. And because, in the end, when you think about gold and what it has been for thousands of years, it's an innate object. It pays no dividend. It exists for what it is and what it has been for thousands of years. It's inert. And this is precisely why people treasure it. Other than the space that it takes up, there's no need to maintain it. It exists for what it is, and it's valuable for what it is, and its shine and its beauty. There's no other metal like it on the planet. And Trump knows this, and certainly central banks around the world know this, especially the Dutch central bank, who likens it to an anchor of trust. So there you have it. Let me know what your thoughts are about this posting. I'm going to post a link to the actual Truth Social post itself in the description below so that you can see it. And with that, I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch. And thanks again to Alan Gold for sharing this post with me. And encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.